Good afternoon, Ambassador. So the occasion of our interview is the new progress report that Macedonia received on Wednesday. So we all saw the report and we can tell that there is some differences between the language that the Commission is using in the reports previously and in this new report in terms of terminology. So we don't see the usual some progress has been made or limited progress or good progress, but there is very descriptive and very direct criticism in the terminology that you're using. Why suddenly Brussels is changing its tone in the report?
So actually the messages which are in progress report are the same. Those are the same messages what we had last year before, and perhaps you are right that we are using very clear language this year because we would like to see further progress in this country. Because the messages in this progress report are for everybody, for government, for opposition, civil society, but also for the European Union member states. But here, once more, I would like to highlight all those issues of concern which we have described in the progress report. And those are increasing politicization of state institutions, government control over media, freedom of expression, the situation continued to deteriorate, political crisis. We see that party interests are increasingly prevailing over the national interests, interethnic relations, independence of judiciary, and fight against corruption. So we are putting it very explicitly that those issues have to be addressed as soon as possible.
So the same messages as previous reports in previous years, but in different language. Are you using this language as kind of a pressure towards the government and other stakeholders to move forward with the reforms?
I think we are using this language not to give so much possibilities for interpretation. The messages are clear and those issues have to be addressed. There is one word what can be interpreted in different ways. We are not going to tell exactly what it means. This is impasse, and we have seen those different interpretations already. So please be free to interpret in different ways.
But they are interpretations. So
sure.
On the press conference on Wednesday, you stated that this report is honest and direct.
Exactly.
And then the Prime Minister Nikola Gruevski, I'm going to quote him, he said that this report is positive and it's a reflection of the satisfying reforms in judiciary, economy and other areas. Can we say that this report is a reflection of a satisfying reforms? Are you satisfied with the reforms?
I can say that yes, this report is positive. It is positive because first, we are so clear. And I think this is positive for the country and this is positive for the European Union as well. The second, it's positive because there is still the recommendation to start the negotiations. Of course, there is this but that meanwhile we are seeing also steps backwards. And I think it's not in the report, but what is the third positive element is that new Commission is coming. And of course, the new Commission would like to engage as much as possible with the country to bring the country closer to the European Union in the same way like the old one wanted to do.
And but are the reforms on satisfying level?
No, I mean, those are the positive things if we speak about the positive things. But of course, we have to point our finger to the problematic areas where we would like to see further progress. Again, I stated it last year, I stated it during many times before, that the progress report is not kind of punishment. I think the country, the government, opposition, everybody here has to understand that this is privilege to get progress report from the European Union, because there are most of the countries in the world we don't write any progress reports. We are writing this progress report because we see that your country's place is in the European Union and your country wants to join the European Union. So we try to help. We try to help you as much as possible to be up to the standards of the European Union. So, I mean, we are not criticizing in such a way countries far away or even in Europe, many countries who don't have any possibility to join the European Union, at least in this stage. Your country has this possibility, but you have to address those issues.
Okay, you said the recommendation is a positive thing, but there is, I'm going to quote this, the Commission urges the authorities to take decisive action to address concerns about increased politicization and growing shortcomings with regard to the independence of the judiciary and freedom of expression, so that its recommendation can be sustained in future years.
Exactly.
Is this a condition?
We are not
Because
talking exactly about the conditionalities here. But again, as recommendation is here, it means that we as a European Union, we are here. We are still engaged, we care. Could you imagine the situation that we came out with this progress report, with a lot of controversial issues, and didn't give the recommendation? It means that we don't care on the same level like we cared on the 7th of October, day before the progress report.
You care more now?
No, we care. It means that we care, we are interested in, and we try to bring your country to the European Union. But it means, of course, that this homework has to be done, and those issues have to be addressed
This homework has to be done when?
immediately.
Do you have any timeline?
Immediately. There is no time at all anymore. And of course, it's quite clear that one cannot recreate the trust to the judiciary system overnight. It takes not days or weeks or months, it takes years.
And what if it's not done immediately?
No.
What do you mean by immediately?
Immediately,
Until the
at
next
least.
report?
No.
This year? Next
No.
year?
I mean, those issues like this court I'm giving us, or judiciary as example, it takes time, but it should start immediately. Media freedom, the issue should start immediately. But what can done immediately or tomorrow, this is the political dialogue. Or what I'm meaning here, we don't understand if opposition is not in the parliament. In Europe, nobody understands it. And the blame is on both sides. I hope very much that if there will be de-escalation between those two parties, they start talking and there will be possibilities for the opposition to come back to the parliament. This is something where from we together with you, can continue working to bring it.
What about freedom of media and
the same? I mean,
what can be done immediately?
Immediately.
I guess reforms take time, as you mentioned, but maybe showing a little bit political will.
Exactly. I think what is wrong if there is denial. We have listed all those issues of concern now, and if there is attitude that nothing happened, everything is on the best track, I think this is not the way how to continue. First, no denial. Second, it's important to start to address those issues. Again, they cannot be settled immediately. It takes time, but we in Europe would like to see that those messages have taken seriously.
Do you trust the authorities that these messages are taken seriously and that?
We believe we try to help, and this is the reason why we are still engaged.
Okay, so one of the worst parts in the report is the situation with freedom of media and freedom of expression. The report notes that mainstream media cannot provide accurate and objective information to the citizens. So I hope you will agree that this is not really news, especially if you have the chance to watch the news in the country in the recent 3 years as well. But what can EU really do to help media? Okay, the responsibility is on the stakeholders in the country, but freedom of expression is one of the core values of the foundation of the Union. So what can EU do to help the process?
Exactly. So I agree very much with you that freedom of expression is one of the core values in the European Union. Without freedom of media, we cannot talk about real democracy. But your question is what we are going to do.
Yeah, because you are mentioning that you will provide trainings for investigative journalists.
I mean, in the progress report, there are many parts where we are talking about freedom of expression and freedom of media. This mechanism exactly is here in our progress report, and just in the beginning of interview, I mentioned that there are concerns concerning the freedom of media and government control over the media. This is the first thing. This is kind of diagnosis. Now we need a treatment. And treatment is not coming from our side, it's coming from your side. If we see the will from the government, from civil society, from the journalists to do something together, then our hand is here. We try to help you as much as possible. But it should come from your side now, I mean from the government. Again, we are mentioning, and this issue has to be addressed now.
Okay, we didn't hear many messages about the name dispute as it was in previous years when the report was published. Why the name dispute isn't in the center of the report this year?
Name issue is there in the report, but I have stated it many times during the last year. Also, other officials have stated it. The name issue is not the only issue for the country. There is a long list of issues which have to be addressed.
And which issue is the priority now?
I mean,
rule of law and media, or the name issue, or
I mean, I just
the quality of reforms?
No, I cannot put it in this way that this is more important or less important. This is quite complex. So all of those issues are important, but if we are talking about Copenhagen criteria, for your country, it means that you should be better than Denmark democratically, and then there is only name issue.
Okay, and you've mentioned that we have to work immediately. We have to start work. Macedonia should start work immediately in order to solve all the problems that are stated in the report. Do you have any concrete timeline?
Yeah.
When and what should be done?
Exactly. There is no time left because world is changing very quickly now, as we have seen this year. Your neighbors are on high-speed train. They are moving. And the next stop of this train is in December, where it's possibility for your country to join others also. If we cannot reach the stage again to start the negotiations, of course, then we have to prepare the next year progress report. We can just hope that there is recommendation again, but as this recommendation was presented a bit different way this year, it's not absolutely granted that if we don't see any improvements, that there will be recommendation. But again, the first stop is in December, and we have to work in this direction so that if negotiations will start, we don't need the recommendation anymore to start the negotiations next year.
So we're waiting a moving train?
Yes, the train is there, and then just in December, it's possibility to join.
You're in Macedonia for almost 3 years, Ambassador, and if I'm right, this is your third report for the country that you're presenting.
Yes.
So this year we have the report that we have this year, and not a lot of progress in terms of quality of reforms is not really pretty much visible. So do you feel any personal responsibility, perhaps, for this situation?
Personal.
Yes,
It's
personal.
quite interesting because when I came here, then after the first year progress report, some people mentioned to me also that this is your failure, that you didn't do it. This is kind of misunderstanding because I am representing the interests of the European Union. I'm not representing interest of your country. You have ambassador in Brussels who is representing you there. It's important for me that the interest of European Union, our member states, are defended. And this is my job. And in this stage, I feel that yes, the interests of European Commission, External Action Service and member states are defended here. So it's a wrong address.
Does your institution might feel any responsibility?
Institution?
The institution that you're representing?
Of course, I mean, this is our joint journey towards the European Union, because you want to join and we want to see you in the European Union. We try to do it together. But again, I mean, we cannot bring anybody by force to the European Union. So this willingness should come from those countries who want to join, and they have to do the reforms which are needed to be up to the standards of the European Union. So first, those initiatives should come from here, and we can give our hands. Please help us to help you.
Okay, and the final question shortly, do you see that willingness here, that we really want to join the European Union?
I see the willingness of the citizens of the country, because the citizens of the country very much support this journey towards the European Union. And we appreciate it very much, and we hope that citizens of the country will get it.
And the leadership?
And I hope very much that the leadership will listen to the citizens and is going to address those issues as soon as possible.
Thank you, Ambassador.
Welcome.